Hey guys, Fabio from Party Butler Culinary Therapy. This morning we're making pizza dough. Learning how to make a simple pizza dough. We're using one package of dry yeast. This is about 8 grams. We need some olive oil for a drizzle to add to the dough after it's done. 2 tablespoons of salt, sugar, using 2 tablespoons, also 30 grams. Lukewarm water, about 650 milliliters, 2 3/4 cups. And I put it in a mason jar, which works nice because it has all the measurements. And for the flour, we're using 00 or bread flour. You need 1 kilo, which is equivalent to 7 cups if you don't have a scale. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start off the yeast. Just because we're using the dry yeast, we've got to make sure that it's active. So what you have to do first, from our 650 milliliters of water that we have, that's warm water, we're going to add 1/4 cup to start off the yeast. Use 1 teaspoon of our sugar that we have set aside. And this, you want to know that if it doubles in size in 10 minutes, then it's active. If it doesn't, you're going to have to stir it again. So after 10 minutes, I marked my yeast, the line, so it doubled, so this yeast is active. So we're going to proceed with our recipe. In our bowl, we have our water that's left over from the 650. We're going to pour it into our bowl. So what we have to do first, prior to adding our yeast, we need to add our salt. This is the Himalayan salt I use. I like it because it's a little more nicer flavor, but you can use sea salt or regular salt. You need to dissolve this prior to adding your yeast. So with your hands that are clean, you're going to take roughly a cup or so, and we're going to add it to this mixture. This is going to help just break up the salt so it's not going to be directly on. So what it's going to become is a slurry, and all you're doing is going back and forth and just breaking it up a little bit before you combine the yeast. And the sugar helps give food to the yeast to help it grow. With our yeast that's grown nicely, you know that it's active. We're going to incorporate it now inside this slurry. Now we are going to slowly add in all our flour. You can do this in a mixer. I just like to do this by hand. But if you have one of those mixers with the dough hook, you can do this process and keep adding your flour until it becomes a ball. We're going to add a little bit of the olive oil, a couple tablespoons, and we're going to let it rest for 10 minutes. This will help rise, come back to it. So we had it covered for approximately 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. So dough's rose a little bit, build up the gluten that you need to make this dough work. I like to use semolina. It gives it a nice crust. Clean out our bowl. So what you're going to do is just work this dough. Pulling it in. So we've been kneading it for a good 10 minutes. So again, the technique is what I do is fold it in, push down, turn it, turn, and push down, turn, in, and down. So once you get about 10 minutes of this, just pull it into itself at the bottom. So you're kind of like tucking it in. And you want to make kind of a ball. So you're going to see he'll spring back and starting to develop. Now this is going to rest in a bowl. Has to be pretty much double the size at least, because this is going to rise. So what I do is get a little olive oil, get my pastry brush, and I just come around the perimeter so it won't stick. We get our dough, turn it in, plop it down, and I give it a little drizzle. You can use a tea towel, cover it up just so no air gets inside, or you can get some cling wrap, which I'm going to try. So the trick I do is I put it in an oven that's not on. Make sure you don't turn on the oven. And I turn on I close it up, and I put on the oven light, and the light itself will keep it nice and toasty. Okay, 4 hours, and we're ready to make pizza. So 4 hours later, we took it out of our oven, and look how much it rose, doubled in size. Look how nice it looks. So we are gonna break this down into our sizes. So the dough has risen, and I put it back in here. So this dough is gonna make about 2 big pizza doughs, or if you're gonna do individual, it's about 250 grams per size. I'm gonna be making some panzerottis, but I find about 250 grams per dough. Taking my dough out. 7 sections. My scale. Wow, that's pretty good. 240. So that's one size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pizzas. These are individual size. Again, if you want to make larger pizzas, then you are going to make it bigger sizes. But this is ample for a personal size 12-inch pizza or a panzerotti. Just oil it. Rub it down with your hands if they're clean. And if you don't have a scale, this recipe again should make about 7 balls, about 250 grams. Equivalent to your palm size. What I like to do is just drizzle a little olive oil. Just rub. So after an hour covered up, see how much each ball has rose. So now we're ready to make our individual pizzas. Okay, that's how simple it is. A little bit of time, a little effort, and you make some beautiful doughs. And the nice thing about these, you can also freeze them if you don't need them, or put them in the fridge in a Ziploc bag and take them out and let them rise out of the fridge when you're ready to use them.